Hello everyone, well what a video we've got for you here for the first time in a year. We're doing Solar Sunday. So once, twice a year at GavsWeatherVids, we like to do a video just purely looking at what's going on in solar activity with the solar cycle, and bring update of all of our trackers and whatnot for solar activity. And add other things into the mix as well. So this video is going to be focusing on first part, the solar trackers, and bring up update of what's happening with solar cycle number 25, and then we will have a look at the latest predictions for solar cycle number 25. Now that we're around 2.5 years into the 11-year solar cycle. So it's going to be a great video, and it's an exciting day at GavsWeatherVids when we do Solar Sunday, because we only do them very, very occasionally. The last one was a year ago, so sit back, relax and enjoy, and we'll go through Solar Sunday in a moment. Wow. We'll go through Solar Sunday in a moment. Just say that first video was our 6 AM upload, and we're going to be live streaming at 8 PM tonight. So we're not doing a 10 to 14 day video today, which means that we'll be including that within the live stream. And as it's a Sunday live stream, of course, we're going to have to show you some long range as well, and that's going to be coming up for you from 8 PM this evening. So I shall see you live then. Thank you so much to Richard. Thank you so much to Shryan as well for all of the help on Solar Sunday. Thank you so much to Richard, the gift. Wow. Thank you so, I'm so sorry, everybody. Thank you so much to Richard. I'm a little bit giddy given that we're doing the first Solar Sunday for a year, I have to say. But I am going to have to calm myself down because, this is quite science-based, so I better sort of calm down in a moment. But thank you so much to Richard for Solar Sunday gift. Thank you so much to Shryan and Richard for the data that you're going to see within this video. It's going to be epic, and I reckon we ought to do it. What do you think? Let's do it, shall we? So let's turn off webcam, and we're going to start off by having a look at the solar disk on our side of the disk today from solarham.net. There it is, everyone. Solar disk on our side of the disk for Solar Sunday. We've got 3 sunspot regions. Counter 1, 2, and 3. So activity is at low levels and is expected to remain at low levels for the next 3 days. Okay, so here we go then. This is the updated solar tracker sent through from Shryan, updated to the 27th of July. This is the extended solar tracker as well, by the way, going right way back to the beginning of the solar cycle. Solar cycle number 25, which actually started in December 2019, but this begins like on the first day of January 2020, which is more or less at the beginning of the solar cycle. So you can see solar activity clearly moving upwards quite obviously. We're well on into solar cycle number 25 now. We are in the ascending phase of the solar cycle and heading towards, but not yet at, solar maximum. So you can see that through much of 2020, solar activity was at a very low level. There was a little tick up there right at the end of 2020, but generally 2020, even in 2021, we have low levels of solar activity. It's another slow start to the solar cycle, similar to what happened at the beginning of the last solar cycle of 24. So we take quite a while to get this solar cycle going. It's really through the second half of 2021, especially late on in the year, but we see quite a big lift up in activity, especially there at the end of 2021. We get a big spike in sunspot numbers. What you have to think with this, the orange line is depicting every day's worth of sunspot activity, or the orange spots are, and the orange line depicts the the daily activity. So the red line is the 7-day average, the green line is the 30-day average. So you can see that we have a big lift up in activity, high number of sunspots in December 2021. It's possible that ruined the cold Christmas. It might have done, I don't know. And it's really before then that we have our last sort of set of spotless days earlier on in 2021, although there has been one spotless day this year as well, actually, I think. But you can see that the trend, certainly the trend with the thick green and the thick red lines upwards as we've gone through 2022 so far, but not in a linear fashion. So the orange spots are showing that some days this year we get quite a high number of sunspots. We did certainly there back in May 2022, back in May this year. That's quite a high number of sunspots, but very quickly after that, notice we virtually drop down to spotlessness again. Not quite, but we virtually get back to spotlessness again by the time we get into the early part of June 2021. Actually, the 30-day average, the green line, shows that in May it was very much lifting up, or through the spring very much lifting up. Into the summer though, notice it drops down. The 30-day average drops down quite significantly as we get into June. Starts to try and recover a little bit by the time we get into July, but still not back at the level we was at in May. So of course the trend is upwards into solar maximum, but the sunspots fluctuate on a day-by-day basis. It's not a linear fashion. Some days will be more active, other days will fall back, while the trend, over the next few years until we reach true solar maximum, probably in 2025, is going to be upwards. This is sent through from Richard, so thanks so much to Shrine for the tracker. This is sent through from Richard, and this is showing spotted days and the current spotted stretch. We used to do this as spotless days and the current spotless stretch, and that will return when we get into the descending phase of this solar cycle. When we move in towards the solar minimum phase of the cycle, we'll start looking at spotless days again. But at the moment, while we're in the ascending phase of the solar cycle, while we're lifting up, we're looking at spotted days. So you can see that for 2022 so far, we've had 211 days with sunspots. That is 99% of the year. Of course, we've still got a little bit of a year to go, but I would be surprised if we have any spotless days through the remainder of this year. So I would expect we'd keep that percentage 99%. Just one day this year, I think, didn't have any sunspots. How that compares to last year, 2021, is that we have 82% of the year with sunspots. That was 301 days of the total calendar year of 2021. 2020 have 43% of the year with sunspots. Remember, so the minimum year of 2019 had just 84 days with sunspots. Only 23% of the year in solar minimum year of 2019 has sunspots. So how is this comparing to like the last solar cycle, number 24? So the solar minimum year of solar cycle number 24 was 2008, which had 98 days with sunspots. That's 27% of the year. 2009, like the first year of solar cycle 24, had 105 days with sunspots, which was 29% of the year. Notice that the first year of solar cycle 24 almost has the same percentage of spotted days, of days with sunspots, as the solar minimum year, 2008, which again shows we had such a slow start into the solar cycle, which I suppose something that we didn't have in 2021. Actually, 2021 had 82% with sunspots. 2020 had 43% of the year with sunspots, and 2019 had 23% of the year with sunspots. So I suppose like the first year of solar cycle number 25 was a little bit more active than the first year of solar cycle number 24, actually. But even so, that's at quite a low level. So anyway, back to solar cycle 24. So the solar minimum year 2008 has 27% of the year with sunspots. 2009 had 29% of the year with sunspots. 2010 has 86% of the year with sunspots, and 2011, which is the comparable year for this year, actually has 363 days with sunspots. That is 99% of the year. So interesting that 2022 has had 99% of the year with sunspots. We see 2011, which is our comparable year, also with 99% of the year with sunspots. What happened after that is that 2012 had 100% of the year every day with sunspots, as did 2013 as well. 2014, which is like the true solar maximum year, has 99% of the year with sunspots. Remember, solar maximum occurs early on in 2014. 2015 also has 100% of the year with sunspots. And then it's 2016 that we begin to go into the ascending phase. We come out of solar maximum and we begin to go into the ascending phase, to the descending phase, I should say, of the solar cycle in 2016, where we get 91% of the year without sunspots. That's when we begin to fall back, descend down into solar minimum. So if this solar cycle 25 pans out like solar cycle 24, this is how the years should work out. So we've got 2022, which should have 99% of the year, at least with sunspots. We have 2023. That should have. What am I doing? We have 2023. That should have 100% or 99%, but probably 100% of the year with sunspots. We have 2024, that should again have around 100% of the year with sunspots. We have 2025, which is going to be like the solar maximum year, probably. That's going to be it's going to be a little bit complicated actually. So we're going to have 2025, which is the solar maximum year of solar cycle 25. That's going to take a little bit of getting our heads around to, isn't it? When we get to 2025 and we get solar maximum. So solar maximum of solar cycle 25 will occur in 2025. That should also have about 100% of the year with sunspots, and then 2026 also likely to have around 100% of the year. Might be a little bit lower than that, who knows, but probably around 100% of the year again with sunspots. So let's put 2022 up here, which we think is going to be 99% of the year. So we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 years to go around this solar maximum. After that, we will begin to move down into solar minimum. So by the time we get to 2027, what am I doing? By the time we get through to I shouldn't have started this tangent, should I? By the time we get through to 2027, we should start to see the percentage coming down. And then, of course, we'll move over to spotless days again. 2028, 2029 will all be descending years. 2030 is likely to be the solar minimum year for solar cycle number 25, and by that point we will be starting to get very close to the next hail year as well, which is something we haven't spoken about in solar study before, but we will probably speak about that in a future solar study. Maybe we get a little bit further on into a solar cycle. We get like a 22-year cycle that is called Hale, that last occurred around 2010. Like the next hail year, it's like to be around 2032. And you tend to get like a very cold or even severe winter occurring around the hail year. So, but I say the last one was 2010. The next one will be due around 2032. And by the time we get through to 2030, so the minimum year, we might be starting to see a trend towards colder, colder winters and whatnot. Anyway, that's off on completely off on a tangent. I don't want to focus on that on this video. We'll talk much more about that in a future solar cycle. But that's how the solar cycle should pan out. That's how solar cycle number 25 should pan out. If everything, plays along as it did with solar cycle 24. Thank you so much to Richard for the gift. Right, so this is from Shrine. This is showing solar cycle 25 compared to solar cycle 24 up to June 2022. So you can see that we get this. So let's start with solar minimum. So that's where solar minimum from 24 to 25 occurs. Again, quite a long solar minimum. This is solar cycle 23, 24 just here. This is solar cycle 24 to 25 to see. You can see quite an extended solar minimum as we have from 23 24. We've had it again ready for 24 25, although perhaps not quite as extended. Perhaps we lived up just a little bit quicker. Solar cycle 24 for solar cycle 25 compared to solar cycle number 24. Where we are right now is just there, or where it was in June, is just there. May sees the most active month of solar cycle so far, just there, and then in June we tick down. July is likely to see that blue line, blue dot lift up a bit, but probably not getting back to the level we was at in May. How does that compare to where we was at this point, so 24? So 2011 is like the comparable year. So that's from just there, really. And I don't think we're all that different from 2011. There is a lot of people saying that this is a more active solar cycle. It might be slightly, but I don't think there's a great deal in it, to be honest. I think solar cycle 25 is performing very close to how it did in solar cycle 24, just maybe slightly more active, but still it is a pretty weak solar cycle. So this will be like the middle part of solar cycle 24 in 2011, just here. This will be the middle part, solar cycle 2011 I should say, solar cycle 24 just here. Of course we get our first peak of solar cycle 24 up there at the end of 2011. That's December 2011 when we get our first maximum. So the first maximum solar cycle 24 happens very early in December 2011. Something a lot of people forget, actually. And of course, if we say that level from 2011 to 2024, there's a second maximum, the true solar maximum, in I think February of 2014. If we'd stayed at that level, you know, from 2011 to 2014, I mean, obviously it would have been a very active solar cycle, but what a lot of people forget is after the first peak that happened in December 2011, actually solar activity then falls back for an extended period. We have quite weak activity, considering where we was in the solar cycle. We have quite weak activity through much of 2012 and the first half, or the first sort of 8 months or so of 2013 as well. It's not until later on in 2013 and then into 2014 that things really ramp up very quickly and we get the second maximum. And then, of course, we begin to go into the descending phase of the solar cycle. So I don't think we're all that far away from where it was at this point in 2011. To be honest, we're around here. That's where we was in 2011, around there. And, of course, we might get an early maximum. We might get an early peak later on this year or into early 2023. What will be, but if we do, that will be, again, comparable, really, to solar cycle 24. What will be interesting is whether we then fall back, you know, for a year or two, whether we see things dropping back through 2023 and 2024 until we reach our solar maximum in 2025. But the two solar cycles, to me, looking at that, to me, let me know in the comments what you think. To me, it looks like the two solar cycles are not performing all that differently. You know, they are seem to be very closely aligned to me. This is showing all solar cycles and solar cycle 25 as well. So the black line is solar cycle number 25. And you can see we are down at the weaker end of the solar cycles. We go all the way back to solar cycle number 1 with this. And of course I've got solar cycle 25 just there. So we're not with the Dalton minimum solar cycles. We're not with solar cycle number 5 and 6. They're the two Dalton minimum cycles occurring early in the 1800s. We're not with those. We're up on that. It's not going to be another Dalton minimum. And I think any sort of idea of like grand solar minimum that we hear, you know, repeatedly, I can't see much sign of that, to be honest. But we are at the weaker end again of solar cycle. This green line is solar cycle number 24. And you can see that black line is only a little bit ahead of that. So it is a slightly, when people say it's a more active solar cycle, 24 is a more active solar cycle than 25. That's true. It is a more active solar cycle. But put that in perspective, there's not all that much in it. It's only a little bit more active. We are still at the lower end of the weaker cycles at the lower end of the range. We're nowhere near like the more active cycles, the cluster that we have just here, which is much more typical of where you'd expect to be in this point in the solar cycle. So I reckon we're just going to carry on being very close to 24, probably maybe a little bit ahead of it, might fall a little bit behind it at some point, who knows. But from this point, and this is, I think far enough on in the solar cycle now to form a judgment where this is going. I don't think we're going to be getting up to here with our solar maximum. I don't think we're going to get up to these, these more active solar maximums up here. I think we will continue to be at the weaker end of range, and we will have a weaker maximum compared to historically what you'd expect solar maximum to look like. So we will probably here in a couple of years' time we're having a more active solar maximum compared to solar cycle 24. Again, though, we will have to put that into perspective that historically it will still be a weaker solar maximum compared to many of the solar cycles that we see there. This shows how we are currently in solar cycle 25 compared to the weaker solar cycles. So again, we've got our two delta minimum solar cycles of number 5 and number 6. Just there, we can forget that. It's not a delta minimum. It's not a delta minimum type solar cycle. We're in the cluster with the other 4. We've got solar cycles 5, 6, 12, 14, 16, 24, the last solar cycle, and 25 in the mix there. So we're not with the delta minimums of 5 and 6. We're in the cluster with 24, with 12, and with 14 too. A little bit ahead of solar cycle number 24, the green line, and on a par with solar cycle number 14, a little bit behind solar cycle number 16 and solar cycle number 12 at this point. But very much within the weaker end of the solar cycles. Thank you so much to Shryan for updating our trackers. This is from Rich. Again, just another way of showing that we're having a weaker solar cycle. I think this is showing a number of days with geomagnetic storms on a year-by-year basis. So this is 2022 so far, just here. You see, we've not had all that many geomagnetic storms. We're much on a par with 2021, really. We are up on 2020 and 2019 and 2018 as well around solar minimum. So as you'd expect, given that we're well on in solar cycle of 25, we're up on where it was in solar minimum. But we're not, we're not where we was at this point in solar cycle number 23, which was a much more active solar cycle. So, look how the solar minimum of solar cycle number 23 compares to the solar minimum of solar cycle number 24. That's around 1996. So, again, much more aware of geomagnetic storms then. Compared to the solar minimum just gone. And I suppose a comparable year for solar cycle number 23 would actually be 1999. That's a comparable year to this year, 2022, at this point in the solar cycle. And again, you can see far more days with geomagnetic storms in 1999 compared to 2022. Now, we do still have more 2022 to go, of course, so that's like a full calendar year of 1999 for geomagnetic storms there. So we've still got some of 2022 to go, but we're not going to get to that, we won't get to that. We might see this bar lifting up a little bit, might go up to there somewhere. We'll have to wait and see how that looks by the end of the year. But we're not gonna go up to that level. There's not enough of the year left to see that bar going up to that level. So this will be a weaker year, compared to a comparable year of solar cycle number 23. And notice most of the years through solar cycle 23, and even back in solar cycle 22, actually, which is like 1994. And 1995, they're the final years of solar cycle 22. They have much more in the way of geomagnetic storm activity up to here, up to around 2006, 2007. Much more in the way of geomagnetic storm activity back then compared to what we've seen since. So I think we're still in a long-term sort of weaker phase of the solar cycle, albeit solar cycle 24 is a little bit more active. By the way, that is the solar minimum year of solar cycle 23-24 in 2009. Barely any geomagnetic storm activity then. So again, that just highlights the fact that the solar minimum for solar cycle 24-25 possibly a little bit more active compared to the solar minimum of solar cycle 23-24. But nevertheless, this is still at the weak end of activity historically, going back to the earlier part of solar cycle 23 and even back to solar cycle number 22. So how are the predictions looking for this solar cycle? Thank you so much to Richard for that. How are the predictions looking for this solar cycle? So this is from the European Space Agency, first of all. The current sort of solar activity compared to the prediction. So prediction was that solar maximum would be reached around 2025. We see this red line going up here. That's the prediction, the predictive line, and very much on a par with solar cycle number 24's maximum. You can see that activity has actually been a little bit ahead of that, been running a little bit ahead of the prediction. With that black line just there, we have moved towards solar maximum and increased solar activity a little bit ahead of the prediction for that to happen, albeit we've already established although that's happened, it's not greatly different from solar cycle number 24. However, this is from NASA. They're saying that solar cycle 25 is exceeding predictions. And there's an interesting graph that's involved in that we'll have a look at just here. Again, the links to websites are in the description with the video. The links to NASA in the description with video. So the prediction from NASA, issued some time ago now, back around I think 2019, is this blue line just here. Again, the prediction was to be very, very close to solar cycle 24. That's solar cycle 24's maximum, of course, there. The prediction that was that solar maximum will be reached around 2025, and it will be very close to solar cycle 24's maximum. NASA has increased that a little bit, or Macintosh et al. Have increased that prediction from 2020 and modified it in December 2021. So it looks more like this now. The prediction looks more like that, which is a stronger solar maximum. So the maximum, the prediction there, based on the fact that we have a slightly more active start solar cycle 25, is placing this solar cycle with solar maximum somewhere between 24, or just there, and 23's maximum, which is up there. So we don't get up to the level we was at with solar cycle number 23, but it is a little bit of a stronger maximum compared to solar cycle number 24, coming out somewhere a little bit in between, and quite a bit above, actually, quite a bit above solar cycle 24's maximum. I still think, though, this is going to come out more like solar cycle 24. I think that's a little bit of an overreaction. If I may say, it's not for me to say, really, but I think that's a little bit of an overreaction to how this solar cycle started off. I still think this maximum for this solar cycle number 25 is going to be more here compared to that. Let me know in the comments what you think, everyone, but I think this will end up closer to solar cycle 24 than that revised prediction, which takes the maximum between solar cycle 20, between the maximum to solar cycle 23, solar cycle 24. And then I found this paper, which is quite interesting, new method for predicting the 11-year solar cycle strength. This is from physics.org, I suppose. I'll leave a link to this website in the description. I won't go through the whole thing. They've basically come up with a new way of predicting the solar cycle, after a year or two of the solar cycle beginning, if you like. So, again, the link to this is in the description. I won't go through all of it because there's a lot to read. But I suppose the most important paragraph is just here for this video. They say, our work confirms the high importance of an independent study of the Sun's hemisphere and regular data collection for them. Also worth noting that our method can be used in real time. We can predict the cycle amplitude continuously over the development of the ascending, lifting up, phase of the solar cycle and update the prediction when the latest value of growth rate is larger than the previous one. This is the important bit, with currently available data, we predict that the lower estimate of the amplitude of the current solar cycle, number 25, will be 110 plus 26, which is comparable with the 11-year solar cycle, number 24. So the maximum and the solar cycle overall should not be greatly different from solar cycle 24. This paper was, I think, released on the 1st of July, so this is very, very sort of up-to-date prediction, saying that we shouldn't come out of solar cycle 25 all that different from solar cycle number 24. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. I think we're well enough on into the solar cycle now that these will probably be the final predictions for this solar cycle, given that, you know, solar maximum going to occur in 2025. We're doing this in the middle of 2022. With 2.5 years into solar cycle 25, I doubt there will be any more predictions other than, I suppose, maybe revised predictions from NASA and whatnot. But it's going to be interesting how it works out. I think we're going to come out close to the solar maximum of solar cycle number 24 compared to previous solar cycles. I think we will be at the lower end of the range of solar cycles as well. We will continue to be so. We know we are, you know, at the lower end of the range, albeit not down to minimum levels. We're still, nevertheless, within the lower end of the range of historic solar cycles. I think that will remain the case as well. The only question is how weak will the solar maximum be. Once again, it'll probably be a little bit stronger than solar cycle 24. I expect we'll hear a lot, you know, about how it's a strong solar cycle with number 24. But when we drill down into the details, I doubt there will be all that much difference, to be honest. We will see. Time will tell, as ever. I could be completely wrong. We may see this really ramping up and taking off. Who knows? But that is my suspicion, anyway. Right, so we're doing Solar Sunday for now and for this year, actually. There won't be another Solar Sunday because in September we're moving on to winter updates, so we won't have time for another Solar Sunday again until we get into 2023. I would hope to be able to do Solar Sunday for you early in 2023, maybe around February, something like that. And of course, we'll see how the ascending phase of the solar cycle is looking then. And maybe we'll have a little bit to say about hail then as well. So that all to come in future Solar Sundays, of course. Thank you so much to Shryan, and thank you so much to Richard for all of the help and data on this video. Been a collaborative effort. I love it. I love to be able to collaborate, you know, and I'm only as good as the people that work with me. So thank you so much to Shryan, and thank you so much, Richard. If you enjoyed this Solar Sunday, then please can you like, share, and subscribe. I mean, thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. You will be able to see more Solar Sundays in 2023. But for this one, very special day, very special video for this one. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I shall see you later on for our live stream. We'll do a 10 to 14 and have a look at some long range as well. But for this Solar Sunday, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.